What's up guys, JaretCampisi back at the track. Today we're at the 200 meter start line and we're going to be covering race strategies for the 200 meter. I'm going to show you a workout to reinforce that race strategy. The entire workout that I'm going to do today will be in the description below, so be sure to check that out. And if you're looking to run a faster 200 meter dash, you're going to want to stay tuned for this one. Okay, so let's first talk about a general race strategy for the 200 meter dash, and then I'll talk about the different types of runners that you have. There's basically two different types, okay? So first, let's talk about a race strategy for the 200 meter dash. It's gonna be similar if you've seen my 400 meter, how to run a 400 meter dash. It starts out very similar. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna run in the first 50 meters all out. Get out of the blocks, try to make up the staggered on the outside lane. So whoever's outside of you, your goal is to make up that stagger in the first 50 meters. What that means is basically you're staggered like this. In the first 50 meters, you want to be beside the guy that's on the outside of you. At that point, you pretty much should have won the race, okay? Then, after that first 50 meters, you're gonna enter what is called a float phase. Now this is something people don't really understand, or they just slow down too much whenever I tell them to do this. So what a float means in a 200 meter dash is basically after you generate all your speed in that first 50, now instead of like really getting after it and still trying for every step to drive hard, now you're just gonna settle in and relax. You shouldn't really see a difference in the float phase, and I'm gonna show you a workout that demonstrates how to do this correctly right after this. The only thing that changes is the effort level that you're putting out, okay? So your speed shouldn't change. The only thing that's changing is your effort. So now you're, instead of working for every step, you're just relaxing and you're holding that speed for 30 to 40 meters, depending on how strong you are and how much training you've done, okay? And so what that allows you to do is finish the race, okay? Because you can't run a 200 all out. It's just not gonna happen. And people who are dying in the last 50 meters of the race, that is why it's happening, because you're running as hard as you can the whole time, and it's just, you're basically just going to be getting slower and slower with every step until you just tie up completely in the last 50, and everybody who knows how to run the race runs by you and you look like an idiot, okay? That's not what we want to happen. So, float phase, that's why it's important. So you're floating for 30 to 40 meters, basically right at the end of the turn, and then after you save that energy and you conserve that energy and hopefully made up the stagger on the guy outside of you, and then you just work it, then you just cruising through that area right there, and then you slingshot off that turn, and that's when you dig back down, give it the last bit of energy that you have right there to slingshot off the turn, come off the turn, nice big arms, relax shoulders, relax face. Don't get all crazy and like, you know, like people that are like tightening up and like going crazy in your arms. If your arms tighten up and your face tightens up, it goes down to the whole rest of your body, and now you're not getting your leg drive all the way up and down, and you're just falling apart basically. The wheels have fallen off, the meet's over, you sucked. No, I'm just kidding, you didn't suck. But anyway, okay, so that's what you want to do. So on that last straightaway home stretch, you use that slingshot off the turn to generate the rest of your speed, and from there you're just trying to hold that speed, and you hold that speed by staying nice and relaxed. Go to your arms when you get tired, drive your arms. Your legs will do what your arms do. So if your arms tie up like this, your legs are gonna tie up too, okay? So you just keep that big, solid, nice big stride, relax, and finish off the race, okay? So that's a general race plan for the 200 meter dash. So now let's talk about the different types of runners that there are in the 200 meter dash. You've got your 100 meter guy, where 100 meters is your best event, and you're bumping up to run the 200 meter dash, okay? So for this guy, the advantage is you should be the fastest guy in the race, okay? Or one of the fastest guys in the race, okay? Because the other type of runner is the 400 guy who's bumping down to run the 400 or the 200 meter dash, okay? So for the 100 guy, when you're the fastest guy in the race, use that to your advantage, okay? That's where you can get out, make up the stagger immediately, and these are usually the guys who need that float phase, because you're not gonna have the endurance to finish the entire race, okay? So what's gonna change with you is you should be able to run at 95% for a little while and still be hopefully running away from people or staying right in the race, but you're conserving energy so that you have some energy for that last 50 meters, okay? The flip side of that is the 400 meter guy. Now, that's me, because I was a 400 meter hurdler, so when I ran the 200, I basically had to run it almost all out the whole time, but I was able to still finish strong because I had those 600 meter bases, those 400 hurdle races, the 400 races, you know? So for me, I could go out and run it, you know, 95, 98% the whole race. I never run it at 100% really ever, except for maybe the first 50. And so, you know, when the 100 guys were taking off in the race, I'm just trying to hang with them and hope that I can pass them in the last 100 to 50 meters of the race, okay? So those are the different types of runners in the 200 meter dash. Having a race plan and knowing these kind of things when you go into the race will make a huge difference. You can literally drop seconds off your time if you execute a race plan, okay? And think about it the night before the race. Think about what you're gonna do. Get out hard in that first 50, float for 30 meters, slingshot off the turn, go to your arms, nice and relaxed down the home stretch, and finish the race strong, okay? So that's how to run the race. Now we're gonna show you a workout that reinforces everything that I just talked about. So stay tuned. Okay. So for today's workout, what we're gonna do is, it's 6 by 80 meter sprints, but there's a little caveat because it's going to be reinforcing what I just talked about. So it's going to be hard for the first 50 and then float for the next 30. So I put shoes out on the track. You'll barely be able to see them. Hopefully you guys have cones or something else that you can use. So I'm going to be running hard to that first 50 and then floating for that 30 meters right there. Okay? Right there. Yeah, and then so basically that's going to simulate the first 80 meters of the 200 meter race, and it's going to reinforce what we're talking about. So when you watch it on film, you shouldn't really notice a difference. It shouldn't be hard for a 50 and then jog a 30. It should basically be hard for a 50, and maybe the only difference you see is the intensity. You see me just relax a little bit coming off that turn, and then if it was a race, that's where I would turn it back on again to finish the race, okay? So 6 of these, 5 to 7 minutes rest. You want to really actually give yourself enough rest so that you can run at your top speed. I personally never ran at 100% in practice. I'd usually keep it around 98, you know, just to make sure you don't hurt yourself. I save that golden gear for races, but enough to simulate what we're doing. So ideally you would want to have blocks, have a bunch of people together. When people are asking me about how do I increase my reaction time out of the blocks, doing these kind of things. Line up 5 people, 6 people, 7 people, get blocks, have someone give you commands on your marks, set, go, and do it like it's just like a race, okay? So this is a time I normally say don't race in practice. This is one of those workouts where you can race in practice. Try to make up the stagger on your outside, laugh at your friend whenever you kick his ass, and make sure you actually do that float phase, okay? So we're gonna do 6 of these, and here we go. So a couple things to note. First off, I'm just demoing this workout for you. I'm not in track shape right now, and I did legs earlier today, so I feel like I look like crap. So don't be all crazy about my form. It's just to show you a workout. Second, make sure when you're doing this workout, you're doing 6 of these, so pick different lanes. Don't use the same lane the whole time. A lot of people always want the inside lanes for some reason. They're the hardest on your body. They're also the slowest. The tighter the turn, the slower it is. So, you know, do some out of 2, do some out of 7, 6, 9, whatever's your worst lane, practice it. This is the time to practice that stuff. So, I'm gonna do 2 more for you, just so you can see again what it looks like. Concentrate on watching me get out and drive, and then what's happening between the 2 shoes over there in the 30 meter float phase, okay? So another thing, guys, in between reps, when you're resting, like right now, never stop moving. I see people that go and sit down or lie down and just lay there. It's an absolutely terrible idea. It's a really easy way to get up on your next rep and pull a hamstring or a quad or something else. So I figured this out my sophomore year in college, where I just started walking in between every rep. I just walk slowly until the start of the next rep. It makes a huge difference a huge difference. So just trust me, I won't go into the reasons why. Walk between your reps, it'll make a huge difference in your workouts. So we're gonna do one more, and then I'll wrap this whole thing up. All right guys, so there you go. I just showed you guys 3 of them because I don't think you really need any more than that, and I don't want to keep these. I want to keep these videos relatively short. But that's a workout you could do definitely a couple times throughout the season to really ingrain how to run that race, because it applies to the 400 as well. You're doing the same exact thing in the first 80 meters of the 400, except instead of a 30-meter float phase, you're going to have a 100-meter float phase. So there you go. If you want to increase your times in the 200 and get faster, even if you're not a 200 runner, if you're some other sport, this is a great workout for you. I hope that sheds some light on the 200-meter dash for you guys. Let me know what other videos you want to see. Oh God, I'm tired. And leave comments below. Hit that like button. Be sure to give me a thumbs up. And I hope I see you in the next one. Peace, guys.
JaretCampisi.com.
It's crazy sometimes thinking you can own a piece of the world.
Okay guys, what's up? JaretCampisi back at the track. Today we're about to sorry to
No.